Hi guys, it's Jacob from Stringbuzz here, stringbuzzworld.org being the music journalism site, links are in the description down below. And we have a brand new song review for you today, and it's the latest track by Desiigner, and that's Up. So I'm going to refer to the original article as I usually do for these videos, so I hope you enjoy. Now, I've never really been a huge fan of Desiigner in the first place, and his fame kind of came out of nowhere for me, but here in the UK especially, I know he's still massive, colossal in the US, but he hasn't really had a hit or a follow-up track to Panda yet, so nobody seems to be really talking about him around this sort of area anyway. I know he's come under fire lately from other critics for many different reasons, so I'm going into this track with an open mind and to see whether this criticism is justified. So shall we see what I thought of it? Well, it's kind of terrible, to be honest with you, and it's got no redeemable qualities about it at all, I guess. In a week where we've had great rap and trap music from the likes of A$AP Ferg and Remy Ma and Joey Badass, Kendrick Lamar, all sorts of major acts with great tracks coming out, this song is like a seething, leaking blemish on what has been a nearly perfect record, I guess is the best way of putting it. How this guy can say he doesn't sound like Future, because I know that's been a big argument in the press recently, is an absolute joke to me, as he sounds like an identical copy, from even his dramatization of notes to the auto-tune he slabs on his voice. I mean, I don't like either, like, don't get me wrong, but at least get your own individual style. I think that would help a little bit. The backing track isn't too bad though, and the chord progressions were used fairly well. I guess that is a redeemable quality, so slap me on the wrist for exaggerating, but I shall have to say, or rather mimic, what other people have been saying about this new project, and that is Desiigner is the worst part of his own songs. Production wise, the track has been barely mixed, mastered, produced, anything you want to call it. All those three steps just haven't happened on this record, and it sounds really unprofessional because of it. Starting with the piano, it's weak for me, it's limp, it's clearly programmed and not been recorded organically. It possesses none of the natural percussive edge that a piano should have, because it is still percussive, and it's just way too quiet in the mix for me. Its dynamics are way too quiet. The bass is more thump than it is drone, which if it was a house track probably would have been fine, but it's not, and instead we get this sub bass which just stabs and then disappears immediately after that sort of first millisecond of impact, so it's kind of pointless. Then you have Desiigner, who has perhaps the worst auto-tune I've heard this year put on his voice. He literally sounds like 7K the God, and if you haven't heard music by 7K the God, then I especially what's the best way of putting it? I implore you to check out his music, especially if you love Desiigner, because you're going to see some similarities there. Moving on to the musicality of this track. I'm having to talk about the musicality of a Desiigner track. Where have I got to? I can understand what they tried to do here, and by that I can't understand what they were trying to do here. I imagine what they were trying to think up here was, it's just a trap track, no one cares about mixing, songwriting, development, mastering, vocal performance, flow, vocal melodies, instrumental melodies. So what have we got to lose? I mean, unfortunately, I don't give trap music that free pass to be that lazy, especially when it can be done so well, as proven by A$AP Ferg and Remy Ma last week. I'll stop talking about that track. So the excuse goes right out the window for me. It's not fun, it's not catchy, it doesn't really pump you up, it doesn't really get you thinking at all, and all it really does is make your face crinkle up until you look like a Shar-Pei dog, or even maybe even a bulldog who's just had a strong whiff of onion. There is no hook here for me, there is no bridge, the song form is a waste of time to even talk about, and the song is just flat out bad from start to finish. Lyrically, why do you even care that I'm talking about the lyrics on a Desiigner track? You already know what I'm going to say here. They're bad, and we'll just leave it at that. I'm not going to drone on about it because it's not even worth remarking about it. So all in all, the track isn't even worth my breath, probably isn't even worth your breath, probably isn't even worth some of the worst people's on Earth's breath. So I gave it a G rating of 1 out of 10, which is a pretty high score. So if you like this video, then please leave a like, subscribe to see more, and I'll see you around next time. Bye-bye.